the Prison City Podcast. When the bars go up, you're officially locked in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Prison City Podcast. I am your unofficial host, Patrick W. Cutler. And boy, have we a show for you tonight. We got Don Bromley on here. He's been on the History Channel. He caught some weird shit on his camera. It looked like a fucking alien. Who knows what it was? He's here to talk about that and a ton of other stuff. He's a very funny as fuck dude. We're going to have a blast here tonight. And that's going to be the show. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And as you see, if you're watching, not sure where the screen is right now, Mark Mahoney is actually sporting a Boycott Patrick W. Cutler t-shirt. People, just to give everybody a little bit of a background on that, especially for our host, Don, we actually had someone boycott this podcast because of a snap that I sent when I was drunk. And so we live in like such a fucking like cancel culture type atmosphere and environment now where people are like, get pissed, you snap the wrong thing, you make the wrong Facebook post, and they'll try to cancel you, boycott you, or whatever. So I have taken the steam out of this and launched my own boycott of myself. You get the t-shirts Boycott Patrick Cutler right on the links below. It's a great movement we have started right now, and it's going to be a lot of fun, especially because I keep upping the stakes on this thing. I'm not going to say all the details, but let's just say if you go on Pornhub.com right now, you may find a video of me. All right, and with that said, let's start the show with Marcus Mahones.
Wow, what a solid intro! Really excited to be back, Don. This is pretty much what you're in for. So I hope you're ready for that. And I think this is number one. Is this the first shirt? So I hope this is going to be hanging in the rafters someday. And I like how you say you took the steam out of this. You fucking are selling t-shirts. That is the opposite of taking steam out of anything.
Yeah, so Mahomes there, yeah. So I agree. That is the actual first edition shirt, first one to ever we've ever created. And he has the very first one there tonight. So very proud to keep the steam of this thing going. Let's go over to Kelly here.
Yes, what a one.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Pat. I like how you say this is one of the worst spots for cancel culture in Western Montana here. I'm so glad we don't live in San Francisco or something where everything's accepted. But I do want to welcome our guest. Jay Marsh is back this week. He's going by the name Don's iPhone. So thanks for being back, Jay Marsh. And did you get your boycott shirt yet? I thought you'd be the first.
Yeah, I'm going to unmute Don now, and we're going to get going here with Don.
All I can say is, man, does your shirts come in women's? Because Kelly's just, I'm sure it won't fit. So maybe kids. I don't know what size you need to go there, but you need to be accommodating because I'm offended. So.
Don't talk about my kids.
Wherever they are. Yeah.
They're somewhere on the premises.
Yeah, so the Boycott Patrick W. Cutler t-shirts are the official sponsor of this podcast.
Special shout out to our listeners in San Francisco.
Wow. High five.
All right, so Don, if you want to talk about yourself for a little bit, I had that photo on my computer that you captured, but I'll kind of let you give a backstory to it first, and then I'll pull that photo up here in a little bit.
Okay. 2 years ago, I ran about 40 trail cameras on a ranch east of Deer Lodge. It's kind of my thing. I ran an outfitter business, and I got very involved in trail cameras. I went and checked this camera one day, and as I downloaded it, I noticed I got this very strange image. It looked like a guy trespassing, couldn't really put heads and tails of it, almost deleted it, and I thought, I'll show my friends this picture. It's kind of interesting. One thing led to another, and I put it in front of the right person, and it blew their mind. They actually told me instantly, I got a picture of a fifth dimensional reptilian, which I'd never heard any of those words before, let alone together. Then we ended up doing a
Neither
clip.
have we.
Really? You want me to hit on this? Because I know all about it now.
Yes, I think so. So, Don, just really quick. So you were the one that did the locker room videos. Is that what we're talking about, to be clear?
Yeah, I'm not proud, But if you hit the link below, I can send them to you for really cheap. So it might not have been me, but
That's definitely not an alien, Don.
What kind of fucking trails were you on?
It was a rough deal. I was naked, and there was some Patron, and I don't know. I got probed. That's all I know.
So reptilians.
So a fifth dimensional reptilian is a alien of sorts that can see in the future. Fifth dimensional being futuristic. Where this trail camera was located, it was below a six phase power line, which goes hand in hand with how paranormal creatures travel because of the higher power grid. So a lot of things were adding up to this picture without me even knowing. I had this picture for like a year before any notoriety came of it. And once I started thinking about it and going back to the day I actually downloaded the picture, I realized there was a little more involved than what met the eye. I run lithium, having 100 trail cameras plus. If you run lithium batteries, wherever you put them, even if it's -40, you'll get at least a year of pictures out of the camera. When I downloaded these pictures, it was 2 months in and my camera was completely dead. And when I downloaded them into my phone got really hot, like almost oddly enough that I remembered it. And the last picture it took was this apparition of whatever sorts it may be. And like I said, I got in front of the right eyes, and that was on Carbon TV for this picture. And then the History Channel contacted me and said, well, we got this new show. Let's make this happen. And even as recent as the news saying, hey, let's meet up. That's where you boys came into play. And this picture lives on. As much as I'm trying to push it to the side because it's a little interesting and different, it's still kind of the front row and center of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, so I just want to chime in here really quick. For the audience out there that's listening from other places in the world or the country, whatever, Deer Lodge, Montana. It's in western Montana. Look it up on the map. It's pretty easy to find. It's between Helena, Butte, and Missoula. And the Deer Lodge Valley is basically surrounded by a bunch of mountains and shit and trails and everything else. There's a lot of haunted things we're going to get into today about Deer Lodge and whatnot. Just kind of give you the picturesque idea of what Deer Lodge looks like. A valley with a bunch of mountains and everything else. And let me just, for our viewers that are watching on YouTube here, let me share my screen here really quick of the image, then you can briefly check it out here. So here is the image right here. You guys can kind of take a look at it. It is, I mean, yeah.
Yep.
It looks really fucking weird. I mean, it's definitely not.
I don't want to be devil's advocate, man. I don't want to be devil's advocate, but that's a baby cow.
You're a rancher. You're a rancher at heart. You better go round them up. Throw your lasso, bud.
What do you think of that image, Mahomes?
I mean, I think that's pretty clearly a llama, like a 2-3-year-old llama.
I think you're right. 3-year-old llama, not 2, but maybe 3. Yeah, I'll buy
potentially
that.
3. And now you had mentioned your phone got really hot. Are you sure that wasn't from the porn you were watching right before you looked at this picture?
Listen. I'm gonna say something here. I watch midget porn. It's only half as bad. So no, my phone was not blowing up from midget porn. Thank you for your insight, though.
I gotta tell you, I didn't expect that response. I appreciate that.
Hey, I figured you'd know midget porn as well as I did, so it's kind of surprising in its own way.
I'm not gonna sit here and judge what people do in their homes. You know, that's not what this podcast is about.
Well, then leave my house because I'm tired of feeding you and shit. So,
Don, I got a question. You say you got 100 of these cameras or hundreds? What'd you say there?
100. I like 120, but 100-ish, give or take.
Okay, so I mean, you weren't like looking for any of this shit. You're a hunter and stuff, right? And this just kind of landed in your lap, right? Like you weren't out alien hunting. Like you're not trying to prove anything there. You were just like, holy shit, this is crazy, right?
Right. I have in the same general vicinity, I have probably, I don't know, 15 cameras within a half mile of where that image was captured. And it was definitely not for aliens at all. It's a scouting tool. It's also a security tool for trespassing, which is where I thought this fell under that category of, oh, it's somebody sneaking in. But once I checked the other cameras and realized none of the other cameras got this image on very common paths for people to walk, it was an isolated incident. This picture is by itself. And that kind of adds the story for me, because you couldn't get to that point without getting your picture taken somewhere else.
Yeah, the other part is, as you were telling me, is that you only had also only one freaking image, as the rest were like black or whatever, right?
Yes. My camera is set to take 3 consecutive pictures when it's triggered. So it took the first picture, which is what we just looked at, and the next 2, it still had the timestamp on the bottom, which was the same minute, but it was completely blacked out. There was absolutely nothing on the screen.
Yeah, that's like, because if it was a normal human being or like an animal or anything, you'd at least have some more photos, 2 more photos of that creature walking.
I've had elk, bear, mountain lion running full-fledged through a camera, and I'll always get at least 2 pictures. Always. Yeah. Never just one and then nothing.
Yeah.
Did any of the cameras in the area, you mentioned that stuff about how this one ran out after like 2 months. Did all the other cameras in kind of the surrounding area still last way longer than 2 months?
Yeah, when I checked all those cameras, they were about 80% battery. Like they had no problems at all. The batteries were fine. But this one in particular with the lithiums, it was done at 2 months. 8 lithium batteries. And those were the last images on the card, and it was done.
And you mentioned, like, you set these up for trespassing and stuff. Is this like, are you working for someone else? Like you're on someone's ranch looking for trespassers, or what does that mean exactly?
Yeah. So on the ranch, I don't work there anymore, but on the ranch I ran the security detail, but it also coincides with animal scouting, which was kind of my forte. This actual image came about 20 feet off of the private line. So where the ranch ends, 20 feet into the public land is where this camera was set. But the difference is, to get to that spot publicly, it's miles, literally miles to get there. You probably have to drop, 1,000 feet in elevation just to get to that point. And it's unrealistic. I mean, I've tried to justify it one way or another, like, oh, maybe somebody snuck in, shot something, and was going out to their truck. But that's not even the route you would go. Like, there's no way to actually justify the time frame of that image being taken.
Yeah, let's take another look at that image right here. Like it's just, that thing looks fucked. That's just so weird looking.
Do you have the comparison image?
I don't think I do. I only kind of screenshot that out off of your news video or whatever you had sent me.
Gotcha. The comparison is the one that really gets you, because on the History Channel, they say that this picture is a guy in a hoodie. But when you compare it to me, because I went back at the same time of night and walked in front of the same camera, you can tell I'm a guy in a hoodie, and this is completely different from anything I know. So I was just curious if you had that. I should send that to you.
Did you get a bunch of, I know you got a bunch of theories and shit on what this thing is, but, one of them had to have been, how you take a picture and there's a flash of light and then you got that glare and shit, which it could be, but it came out, looking like a fucking bipod, with his hands out or whatever. So, I mean, it's the coincidence. And then when the camera died, that would just be a very, very, very strange coincidence if like a flash of light happened just like that and left that image on there.
Exactly right. I actually, with the History Channel, they asked me to send them a bunch of overexposed trail cam photos, which, having 100 cameras, I probably have a couple dozen of that category. But every one I sent, even if it's overexposed, it doesn't even get close to that image. That one's, if you look at the grass around it, it's very clear, cut and dry, and the image is blurry, to say the least. I don't see that at all. I've never actually seen a picture like that with a clear background, foreground, but the picture itself is transparent almost.
And for the people who are listening on the podcast, like in a car or something, the best way I can describe it is it's like, if you've seen those bodysuits that people wear to like sporting events sometime, where it's like this green latex suit, it looks like someone's wearing one of those, but gray is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah,
Well, that's a great way to describe it. Yeah.
Well, and the other crazy thing too, Don, is well, I guess I should ask, and it's a rhetorical question, but you haven't seen anything like this since, right?
Image wise, no. I did have a very interesting run-in about a year ago that was let's see, paranormal, for the better term. I did see something that was interesting, and on the same mountain range too, but for that image itself, no, never seen anything like that.
I guess I'm talking about like the people that are out there. If you guru nerd, whatever.
Wait, I lost you.
You lost there for a second.
Say it again. I lost you.
Yeah, sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
If you really were like this paranormal nerd guru, whatever, you wanted to be like, hey, I catch aliens all over the fucking place, you think that since 2018 October, you would have came out with something else and been like, ooh, here's the next one. But since it's just like this one image, people got to take you a little bit more serious than just being a fucking nut that's trying to push a narrative,
Exactly. Because people are out there doing it, and I've met a few after this picture came out of, I'm an alien hunter, I'm a paranormal hunter, let's talk. And I have, like I said, I have one incident that was very strange, but outside of that picture, no idea. I've never got anything like that, and I've never seen anything like that, to be honest. And I look at a lot of trail cam pictures. That's kind of my go-to. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting, man.
So when that person first told you like this is a fifth dimension like meat spanker or whatever they called it, like were you like, how high are you? Like that had to be your first question, right?
Oh, yeah, and the guy that actually told me that is a very professional man, and he has a lot going for him, and he was very adamant. This is a gray alien, it's a reptilian, and it's a fifth dimensional being. And I'm like, I like meth as much as the next guy. Like, wow, and he got into detail about why it's a fifth dimensional reptilian. And that's where it all started. And I've heard that term probably 10 times since my picture dropped, from people speculating what they think it is.
Yeah. And how would you, in your own words, describe like what exactly like the fifth dimension actually is?
Let's see. As a fifth dimensional being, is a hostile by nature being that can foresee into the future and travels multiple galaxies. I guess that's probably the best way I can think about it.
And to break that down for our younger group out there, basically, how would you break that down?
No, you're older than me, Pat. Damn it, you're like 50. You can't say that.
Hey, don't need to be a dick, man.
But listen,
hey, and you want
we
didn't tell you the real reason the other guy's not on the show right now.
Yeah. Because you beat him up and curb stomped him. That's neat.
No, we actually sent him in to the fifth dimension because we know people.
Hey, I need to get in contact with your people then, because damn. Yeah, I think the fun part about hearing it, it was let's see, I was at an antler opener, which Montana has about, I don't know, 20 different game ranges. May 15th at noon, they all open. It's like an adult Easter egg hunt. You go pick up shed antlers on places that nobody can be until May 15th at noon. And I came across this guy. He had a big shed on his back, and he had the match to one of my shed antlers. So I was going to try to give him $50 for it. And I bullshit with him for a little. And I'm like, man, you look familiar. And he kind of chuckled. And then his kid came over and we started talking about trail cams. And I showed him this picture. He goes, holy shit, man. I got to show my dad. Well, 5 minutes later, I'm getting interviewed for this reptilian of the fifth dimension. And it was one of those things that it was weird for me because that was the first dose of this is something outside of the norm. Like, you just caught the most iconic picture on trail camera. Like, maybe. And the more he talked about it, he was very adamant that this fifth dimensional being, this guy had his head screenshotted and said, look, what's the word I'm looking for? They are, oh boy, they can change instantly. Their appearance can change in a quarter second. And this guy feels like that picture catches a face of the reptilian in change because the camera snapped at that moment. And that's why we didn't get any more pictures of it, because it was gone, because that's how it works. So kind of a strange dynamic for me being, I don't know, it could be a trespasser, it could be an alien, it could be anything, to a guy saying, you got the most iconic picture I've ever seen.
So I was just going to say, what's the other ones? Because you say reptilian, I heard you guys talking during the KXLF interview the other day. There's other ones, and this one's classified as a reptilian because it changed, as you say, but there's a bunch of other ones too, right?
Right, like a gray alien. That's probably the most common. Reptilian is kind of out in left field for me because I've heard it a few times, but not a lot. Gray alien is the term I hear a lot because it resembles, if you go on Google and type in gray alien, the pictures that show up on images look oddly familiar to the picture that I caught on camera.
And how do they know that, you said something about these reptilian aliens can predict the future or something like that?
Right.
Where's that part come into it? Is there any justification for that?
That's a good point. And I honestly don't think I'm researched enough to know, because I've heard that term from the few people that dropped reptilian, as in, hey, I saw your recreation photo. Weren't you a little nervous because that was a reptilian and they can see in the future, so they know that you're going to be there? Which was a weird concept, because that's to mankind, that's very foreign. We're not used to hearing anything like that. And it was weird. Like, when we went there and recreated it that night, I didn't want to be there. And we stood there for a little bit, and there was 3 of us total. All 3 of us, we wanted out of there. And I won't go back there. It's a weird spot. It's definitely a weird spot.
So you want to go camping there this weekend, Kelly?
Go ahead, bud. I'll put an X on a map. Listen, you can go there all you want. Let me know how it goes.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, it can predict the future, so you get a picture of it. So is it just like this alien that was drunk, forgets who it is? And it's like, oh fuck, they probably just got a picture of me, and then just darts off. I'm just wondering how that works.
I think my favorite part was when we went back for the recreation. We started walking up the trail, because it's like I said, it's on public land right outside of this private ranch we had access to get to. And as we were walking up, I'm like, man, I don't like being here at all. And he looked at me and he goes, don't worry, I got this new pistol on my side. I was like, shit, bud. I hope you got plasma bullets, because what actually takes down a fifth dimensional reptilian? You tell me, right?
And guess what? That alien knew he had that fucking pistol. He was there when he bought the pistol.
He knew it was 240 grains of lead. Yep. He watched the Matrix. He knows what's up.
I think the alien was just like, it'd be really cool to be on the Prison City podcast in 2.5 years. So let's give this guy an image.
He's bringing IPAs and driving a dirt bike. So this guy, he knows what's up. Good representation of the species. You're welcome, Okay, wait. So
go ahead.
Okay, wait. So Kelly and Pat, you've seen the picture. Mark, is this the first time you've seen the picture?
That's the first for me, man. Yeah, that's
okay.
Pat was kind of Pat had set up kind of like a preview to the episode on social media. So the first time I saw it was last night.
All right. So what did you think when you first put eyes on it? What was your initial response?
I think probably like most people, the first thing you do is try to be like, all right, what the fuck is this actually, right? Like, what's really going on
right,
here?
Justify.
And then so I look at it and I'm just like, I can't, because if that was a person, it wouldn't. There would be more facial features. And then the initial thought was like, well, this would be kind of a weird thing to do, to put on one of those kind of nylon latex suits and just go out there for kicks. And just get this one picture,
right.
and not have any other pictures. Kind of, and honestly, then the last thing I was like, man, how come every time we see a picture of a Bigfoot or alien, it's never fucking like in focus? That was like the last thing I thought.
Good point. Yeah, because that's,
and it's honestly hearing you tell the story, especially like the stuff about the cameras and then about power grids. Because if you look at alien stuff, there's a lot of power grid related things on there. The reptilian thing is interesting too, just because, on the weirder sides and shit like that. So I had heard that term before. But it does kind of look like the classic, like what you hear as a kid growing up, like that's a gray alien that's going to probe me and like wipe my memory or some shit, like I'm in Men in Black.
I hope so. Yeah.
It's just so.
No, it's a good point though.
Like Pat was talking about, Deer Lodge is such a fucked up place. Like there's really so many weird fucking things happen here. So it's like, is it all that surprising? Like if we would get visited by aliens? Not really. I don't know. I mean,
not really.
There's obviously multiple stories.
What if the other part you were talking about? Sorry, go ahead.
The only thing I was going to say is just how, like, did you ever imagine it would get to this point? Like, you see this, you're almost thinking about deleting it, and now it's definitely kind of like, I'm not going to say messed up your life, but it's definitely like thrown it for a considerable loop, right? Like you're talking about this more, you've done research on this shit now.
Yeah, this is a great segue into what this picture's done for me, right? The guy that filmed me originally for this picture is now one of my business partners in one of my latest endeavors that I'm in. And he's put me in front of so many people and the connections I've made, all because of this picture. It's mind-boggling, really. Like, he's one of my better business friends and we have a good relationship, and it all comes back to this picture. The thing I wasn't expecting is, especially after it aired on History Channel, was how many people in Deer Lodge have approached me and said, I saw your story. I need to tell you mine. And holy hell, have I heard some of the craziest stories from this valley in the last year. It's been wild, really wild.
You're muted, Kel. Sorry. When you went back out there, Dawn, did you see, I mean, you probably would have brought it up by now, but footprints? I mean, you guys looked for that shit. Broken branches, grass that was, looked like it had been stepped on. I mean, did you guys do all that research and look at all that shit?
Yeah, I think the part that was interesting too is the trail that the camera was on had a bunch of elk tracks, deer tracks, couple bear tracks, but the camera died too quick that none of those pictures were part of it. And from the direction of which the being is traveling, there is no trail, and there's no way anybody could just walk up the direction they were going. That doesn't make sense at all. The other north, south, and west direction, sure. But to head east the way it was going makes no sense at all.
Well,
and so we looked around.
Sorry,
We did.
Go ahead, man.
No, we looked around, but there was nothing. There was no evidence of anybody being there.
Some random person walking through there wouldn't know you had the cameras up, right? It's not like a giant VHS thing hanging from a fucking pine tree.
Right.
Did you have any friends or anything like that that could have been fucking with you? I'm just trying to like get rid of all of the shit that people might ask.
Oh, yep. And I've heard that one too. I've heard like, oh, your buddy's just fucking with you, you know, and I've heard that. But literally no one besides myself knew where this trail camera was. I was the only person that knew. So no one could even mess with me enough to know. And if they did, I had 30 other ones on the ranch they could mess with. But this one was remote, to say the least.
Oh.
I kind of wonder.
Why did you? If it was so remote, like, why did you think to put one there?
Because the trail, it was a really good game trail coming from the public to the private, and I could see the elk and deer tracks on the trail itself, and it was almost a good pinch spot. You know, it takes a while for me to set a camera, but that spot was good because it got every direction, and then I get this image of something coming from a direction that shouldn't be, going to a direction it shouldn't be. So that one actually threw it more for a loop. It was walking down the road. I might justify it more as a person, but it wasn't. It was crossing the road, going into the dark, thick timber that you can't even walk through.
Yeah, and what? Let me go back here and look at this photo one more time, and so I can get the official timestamp for everybody. So yeah, it's 7:08 p.m. So obviously in October, this is in the dark, correct? Right? I mean, this is a night camera shot or whatever. So who the fuck would be walking
That's
around?
the infrared you're seeing. Yep.
Yeah. So who the fuck for audiences listening via an audio? It's a dark photo, clearly a night captured photo. So who the fuck would be walking, you know, in the middle of the dark 2 days before Halloween, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the dark, in the fucking mountains? If it was a person, like, how could you even fucking justify that?
Right. And that's another key point to this is the figure itself at 7:08 in the evening has no backpack on. They have no firearm. They have no any distinguishable pieces that would make them. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, it looks like a naked person, and there you're 4 miles from a public road, at least.
Yeah.
And I had to look it up just because I was curious as just what day of the week. So this would be a Monday night in late October.
Oh, I like this. A Monday night, huh?
And again, a Monday night up in the mountains in western Montana, like where we live in Deer Lodge. I mean, it could fucking snow at this point at any point. So you're not going to be just up there with no backpack. Doesn't appear to be wearing a coat or anything. I mean, you're not going to be fucking up there. Like, what would you be doing up there?
Right. Yeah. What would you be doing up there? Right. Exactly.
So what were you doing, Don, like before, like the couple of years leading up to this? What was your life about working and shit? You know, again, just for the listeners to put all this together, because so they don't think like, oh yeah,
this crazy guy got cut off. Kelly got cut off there for a second. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I need to.
I actually heard everything you said, honestly.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, previous to that job, I actually worked for that same ranch 2 years before, just as a ranch hand. I left that job to go run an outfitter business in Twin Bridges, Montana. And I ran that whole deal for, about 2 years, and then came back and asked the owner of that ranch that I was on if I could pick up some part-time work for him. No problem. And that's when, probably within a month, I had about 30 cameras out because once I left the outfitter business, I had no need for them. Because it goes from a business aspect to a personal hobby aspect. So all these cameras that I run on this ranch, they're all for hobby. It's not for business, for drumming up customers, which also shows that for years I've got with 100 cameras, thousands of pictures that I analyze weekly, bi-weekly, and this one has been a completely different scale for me. I've never even got one close to this picture. So it's not like I just bought a camera from the pawn shop, hooked it up, got this picture. Okay, it's an alien. No, I've had thousands of pictures I've went through, and this one stands out.
And how long was that camera up? I know you'd said something about it ran for 2 months, but what was that?
2 months.
2 months?
Yeah, I in my head, it was like end of July, 1st of August. I set that camera up with brand new batteries.
And did it go out? That's why you looked at it, or did you just come across this randomly? Your weekly, bi-weekly scanning of all these photos and shit. Did you just randomly come across this, or did you know the camera went out?
Nope, it's not a wireless camera. I have a few that send directly to my phone, and I know when they die. This one's not that type. I was just making my rounds, and I checked the 5 cameras on the way to that one, and didn't get too much. And then I checked that one, and I was oblivious. I'm like, oh, this camera sucks. Like these Energizer batteries, whatever part of China they came from, like obviously it didn't work that well. And then when I downloaded the SD card, that's when I started putting pieces together that, oh, this was the last 3 pictures it took, and now it's completely dead. And to add to this story, that trail camera itself, I've never seen a trail cam do this before, but if you go to put it on any setting, there's preset 1, 2, 3 and custom. If you put it on any one of those tabs, the camera just glitches. It just flashes sporadic, random codes and numbers, and the camera doesn't work anymore.
Weird.
Wow, that is really freaking weird. So Don, just tell us a little bit about your. We're gonna segue here for that. Tell us a little bit of about your sex life right now.
I like midgets. Midgets are kind of my thing. If they're strippers, it's a plus. I only have to pay half price. It's a life I live. Listen, I don't judge you. You don't judge me, okay?
Now, Don, Jeffrey Epstein on his island, he would just segue.
Papa.
Again.
I call him Papa. So you call him whatever you want, but
Okay, just to get back to a serious question.
I thought that was serious. Shit.
I mean,
I love my dad.
You've mentioned multiple times about the midget stuff, and that rings a little true. But anyway.
Amen or preach. I don't know.
So those last 2 images that are like they come back black, right? Has anyone like tried to do like a negative of them or some sort of contrast?
Yeah, when I got the whole contract deal with History Channel, they wanted all 3 of the pictures. And so I sent all 3 to them, and they sent it to some lab to be analyzed. And the first picture, which is the one you saw, the guy came to the conclusion that it was not tampered with. It wasn't Photoshop. It wasn't some BS deal. But the other 2, as he describes to me, was truly blacked out. Even though the timestamp from the trail camera was on there, there wasn't 1 pixel of variation through the entire image on both of them.
Weird.
So it's such a fucking weird story. And that's going to be our show tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good one. Lock your doors.
If you haven't watched an episode, we usually go about 4 or 5 hours.
So anyway, I hope you're ready to repeat that whole story at least 10 more times until we get a shot we like.
Hey, you need more beer. You stupid. Well, be less stupid. All right.
Hey, Don, I wanted to ask too, dealing with History Channel, I mean, that's a big fucking deal. So what, can you tell a little bit about what that was like, dealing with those big producers and shit for that channel?
Yeah, that was an interesting endeavor. I randomly got a phone call last summer from a New Jersey number, and I figured it was about my car's extended warranty, so I ignored it. and I get this voicemail. It's like, hey, my name's Ted. I work for History Channel. I saw a video about your potential alien clip. We'd like to do a show about it. Give me a call. So I called the guy back. And we went through the dynamics of what that looks like. And he explained to me the premises of the show. It's called The Proof Is Out There. And it's mostly them debunking certain ties to abnormal things or paranormal things. And he laid it out for me. There's gonna be, 3 clips per episode. We're gonna analyze it. We're gonna have a professional whatever come in and give their take on it. Laid it all out. So I said, sure, no problem. They sent me an iPhone, a new iPhone, gave me some money to do the B-roll, did some filming for the show, so we didn't just pull generic Montana clips of scenery. Film the whole thing, set it all in, and yeah, it was a good experience. It was fun. I'm still upset, and so is America, because I've learned this, being me, about the woman, the anthropologist that they prescribed to my clip, because they probably had to stop so she could wipe the drool off her mouth before she actually said what she thought it was, because, well, she is a little warped, but, well, what do you do? So it was fun. It was a good experience.
Did you get to keep the iPhone as some sort of payment for them making you film all that fucking B-roll?
The fun part is I had the exact same cell phone they sent me, so I just ended up selling it. That's how that worked.
It's a smart idea.
Yep.
So the B-reel, you just filmed yourself, or did they come out? Because you said you filmed like 30 minutes or something of explanations. Did they come out with all the lights and cameras? They did?
No, in 2020, is that right? Yeah, 2020, in COVID season, they sent me an entire camera box of gear. Here's your iPhone, here's your light ring, here's your microphone. You need to be set up this way, this direction. You need to be this far away from the camera. Once you're in place, I'm going to send your image to 5 executives to make sure everything's okay, and then we'll do the interview. Which, little did I know, being from Montana, I had it set up, and you could see an antelope that I killed back in the day, shoulder mounted on the wall, and people started crying when they saw the antelope on the wall. So after I did a 30-minute interview, I had to turn 180 degrees and do it again.
So that's that fucking cancel culture. I think we got Mahones again repping the shirt for the cancel culture here tonight.
There it is. There it is. He's probably on the board, to be honest with you.
Hey, and Don, for being on the show tonight, we got to tell you, you get a shirt. You just got to go buy it. It's $25 online, and it's yours.
I'll pay $30. I can't haggle. So good. $30 it is.
Good, perfect, because you're going to have to pay for shipping too. So.
Makes sense. That sounds American as hell. Good.
And so, did you ever think, because I used to watch the History Channel all the time, I'm kind of a history nerd, I'm super into it. So did you ever think to ask them, like, hey, why don't you guys show fucking any history thing anymore at all? Stupid motherfucker.
Yes, word for word. So that was, you must be fifth dimensional. You knew what I was going to say.
He's reptilian.
He's reptilian. It's funny because when I talk to them originally, I'm very entrepreneurial, I guess you could say. And I tried to pitch History Channel a Redgate, the series for history, instead of just some BS clip. And then after we watched it, I called Ted, the producer for the show up, And I'm like, man, I just wasted half hour, actually an hour, flipping 180 degrees, on recording myself telling the Redgate story, and you guys took 20 seconds of it. And some woman in Washington compares it to Bigfoot. Like, that doesn't do me much justice at all, you know?
Yeah.
And, but the producer also runs, I still can't remember the name of his show. Undescribable? No. He's got 2 seasons on History with this certain show about paranormal. And he just got the third season. And he wants to come to Montana and talk about this picture more. So
Hey,
Unexplainable, I think, is the name of it.
Unexplainable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
boom. I've been waiting for you to say that. Yeah, that's been like a week. I've been trying to think of that. Unexplainable. Yep.
You should hook us up when he comes through, because we actually have a film called Redgate. It's not a documentary, but it's an actual horror film, and I don't know, maybe he has some connections or whatever.
Honestly, I know the guy pretty well now, and he actually is into women. So I know you're shooting your shot here, but you know.
Well, Redgate, the film, has women in it.
Does it?
Hey, don't worry, John, and it's a lot more than your 20 seconds of fame there.
Hey, I've only done 20 seconds my whole life in anything I do. So that's, you know what? Par for the course. Par for the course.
You got a couple kids out of 20 seconds, though. So good
yeah. Yeah, you think twins, that's 10 seconds to break it down. So
hey, no, when I first heard you saying basically to tell a producer to fuck off, and I realized you were just talking about Steve Owens, who works at the Rialto.
I don't want your popcorn. I don't want a back rub. So go away. Yep. I was there. My therapist says I shouldn't talk about it, but I was there.
Don, you've done this research, you know, a lot more than we probably have, because this photo has been floating out there for, you know, 2.5 years. So on the Redgate end of stuff, just listening to the interview with John Amy of KXLF last week, our stories about, you know, the horror film that we created, were they completely unfounded, or did you find recognition in those, or what is the true Redgate story, or does anybody even know?
Is there an actual true story?
You know, I've been asking myself that for a while, because I think I've heard so much speculation that I couldn't say, well, this is probably the most truth be told story here compared to A, B, C, and D. I've heard so many variations of the actual Redgate story. I don't know if it is good, if it's not. I don't know.
The crazy
That's
thing,
a good question.
Yeah, the crazy thing we were talking about, though, and this is kind of what the Redgate film that we were doing was based on, some true stories about the history of Deer Lodge and whatnot. But so for our audience out there that doesn't know the Redgate story, I'm going to recollect kind of what I grew up as a kid hearing. Basically, there was a small town out of town. It was a mining little town, almost like a little village. They had a boarding school and all that stuff. It's called Emory, and these mines going. And a guy had a little homestead, a little farm, whatever. And one day he came home from his day at work, or he just came home and fucking axed up his entire wife and kids and everything. They took their blood and painted his gate red with it. That was kind of the story that I grew up as a kid, knowing about or whatnot. But when it comes to the true story of Redgate and everything else, it's kind of weird, because a lot of stories like Don's stories tonight are based around aliens and things that are kind of more true. But not the funny thing, I should say the funny thing is, it's actually kind of sad. But the weird thing is, what happened based on the true story of Redgate pretty much fucking happened in reality 3 or 4 years ago. Kelly, if you want to tell that story.
Well, yeah, we were telling that on the news a little bit, but the family that got murdered up in the hills, husband came home, slaughtered his whole family, including his 3 kids. And I've heard a lot of different variations on that story as well. So yeah, that definitely happened up there by Spring Emory somewhere. But I mean, there has to be some truth to the Redgate story. There has to be something back in the day, because everybody around here is talking about it. And I don't think like, Donald Bromley at the Broken Arrow tells a ghost story and then everyone talks about it for 100 years. Like, I really think that something must have fucking happened. Who knows what the true story is, but we're still talking about it. So.
Right.
And I'm going to go to Mahomes. I'm going to see if you've heard this one. Have you ever heard the rumor that Deer Lodge, the reason there's so much fucked up shit that happens in Deer Lodge is that the town was built on an Indian massacre burial ground?
Heard that one. I've heard the we have the bad luck because of that. And then one of the exits to Deer Lodge is the police code for murder.
Oh, God.
That's a classic.
187.
Classic.
187.
Classic.
Yeah.
So yeah, or there was some sort of so I've heard kind of two variations of one. There was like a burial ground, or then another when kind of Cottonwood City, the precursor to what is now Deer Lodge, was founded. It was on some sort of like the settlers came in and massacred the Indians that were there.
So
that's what causes the fucking weird shit.
Yeah. So I did like a shit fucking ton of research when I wrote the film Redgate, and basically what I came across was pretty much this. Back in the day, really where the Deer Lodge Valley is, basically where the rivers come in and everything, they called it Spanish Fork. And back in the day, you had these people that are called the Métis people, and they're like half Native American and half European white settlers. So they're like a mix. We're totally native, so they're half and half. And basically these peoples, they came and they were hunters and gatherers and stuff, and they came here and they really founded the area, whatever. Where you have like it's like a Johnny Kors or whatever. They originally actually founded Garrison. Like, they had nothing to fucking do with Deer Lodge. Like, they originally founded Garrison. After they kind of settled and founded Garrison, they went back to their where they were from originally, which is it was like Fort Hall, Idaho, but it was Oregon at the time. So they went back to Oregon and stuff. And then basically what happened was, after he went back to Oregon for like a summer or something, he brought all his friends and his family and everybody. He brought everybody fucking back to Garrison, except he just said, "Fuck it, let's go." Instead of going to Garrison, let's go all the way down into the fucking valley and stuff. Where the weird twist is, and I've looked, you can look this up online all the time. Anywhere you want to look this up, and the Métis people, like, they just fucking vanished, like, out of nowhere. Like, there's like no fucking story of where they went or where they exited to or like fucking anything. Like, they basically said that they were the ones that were here first, and then they just like fucking disappear. And then you go through Deer Lodge, and it's such a fucking white town. So it's like, where the fuck did they all go? Magically. So it kind of leads to that idea that, well, were they massacred? What the fuck really happened?
Which makes you really wonder why people want to go to Grant Coors Ranch in the first place, right?
Valid.
I don't know.
And for those of you that aren't familiar, Grant Coors Ranch is a historic kind of, I wouldn't even call it a tourist trap because it's boring as shit, but it's in Deer Lodge and it's notable.
But
notable. Good.
If you go there, just know that you're supporting mass murderers.
It's hard to argue. I mean,
it's in this disclaimer you sign when you go through the walkways. Like, yeah, you know what you're supporting here. Yep.
So we had a read through for that, the first read through for that movie last summer, and there's a person that was a little bit of a historian when it comes to it, and she corrected me on the Métis people, so I was pronouncing it wrong, and she didn't really disagree with anything I had to say. She's like, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation. Like, what the fuck actually happened? It's kind of a weird thing, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's a lot of interesting shit with Deer Lodge to talk about. It's hard to prove what happened or didn't happen. All these different things. It's just everybody that lives here knows that there's a lot of bizarre shit that's happened here over the years.
Yeah, I think hitting on that point itself, after my alien picture dropped, I had two different people approach me that I had no idea, but they had their own stories for paranormal experiences in Deer Lodge. One was, I have a friend that owns land at the original homestead of Redgate itself. And I'm sure Pat and Kelly, I talked to you about this when we had the KXLF interview. But he was with a friend and their dog, and in the barn, the main Redgate barn, there's a second story loft with an open door. And him and his friend looked at it and saw a figure standing in the opening. And their dog started going crazy and berserk, and the hair went up and growling. And the other friend said, well, there's nobody supposed to be here. Let me climb the ladder and see what's in there. Well, the dog was going berserk the whole time. He climbs the ladder, looks in the second story loft, and there's nothing there. And he turns back and says, there's nobody up here. And as soon as he said it, the dog's hair went down and it stopped growling and barking. And that was, he pulled me aside in confidence to tell me that story. And he didn't want anybody to know that it came from him because I see how you put this. He's just a well-established person that could go and question with a story like that. Sure. That's a big one towards the Redgate side.
And I know you don't want to say his name, but would you say it rhymes with Barry Ginder?
Schmishmortian? No.
And he used to be the chief of police.
That new store. they sell clothes there. They sell clothes. Yeah, I know. Where you're.
Yeah.
I'm flushing.
Hey, we might get in trouble.
Yeah.
Watch what you're saying, man. I mean, there is 12 people listening tonight, so watch what you're saying.
There's 12 people listening.
They're all in Asia. How fun is that? Boy, that makes it nice.
Don't even speak English.
How about the second? Here's one though. The second story.
12's a generous number.
12 is a generous number.
Want a free shirt,
Mahoney.
You guys are giving away a free shirt, right?
Yeah.
Well, we got one listener tonight. They're getting a Boycott Patrick Cutler shirt. The one listener. Congratulations. That's what they're fighting for right now.
Oh God.
If they call in the next 5 minutes and tell us exactly what a reptilian alien is, you get a free shirt tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry.
1-800
Our lag here is
EN.
10 seconds.
All you have to do to get a free shirt is call in to Cutler Brothers Theater, order at least one ticket to Glengarry Glen Ross, and tell us what we talked about to end this podcast, and you got yourself a free t-shirt.
Anything. No, just anything. Ask them what is a podcast. They'll be like, oh, I've heard of it. They won't know. They won't know. This is fun though. I think this is the fun part for me. You three boys all know this person that told me this story, so this is fun. There's a store that is located close to the Clark Fork River in Deer Lodge, and this person has seen paranormal activity for about 6 years there. And I walked in there after the History Channel aired, and this person pulls me aside and starts crying, which that's pretty common for me, because I got a lot of roofies. But she looked at me. I said, she, boys. I said, she. So you can't relate. I said, she. And she goes in depth to tell me the story about paranormal in her setting. And then she backed it up with some true historical data that backs everything she just told me with where their location is. There was a military camp in the late 1800s, and there was a captain that got killed in the camp over a bad poker game. And that guy is supposedly still haunting their property. And I heard the whole story in its entirety. Yep, sure, probably. And then I heard it from about 4 different other people, different variations of the story of their own accounts. And that in itself could be its own entity. My picture is one thing. It's just a picture. The recount and the whole recall of what happened there, that's like The Conjuring. Like that's getting pretty serious.
Oh, I hate that shit.
Oh shit.
Let's just end the podcast there because that shit scares the shit out of me.
I need an adult who's up for hugs. I got massage oil, so.
Hey Don, did her name rhyme with Orlean Molmstead?
Oh, jeez.
Just taking a stab in the dark.
I'm pretty sure she died, so no. But maybe.
I don't think she did. The town's fucking haunted, man.
I can.
No, this person went to school with all three of you. Yep.
Oh,
put that-
yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, problem solved. Good. Continue.
Got it.
Got it.
Figured it out.
Yep.
Which I heard a lot of other paranormal stories from
Yep.
her, which I'm sure was acid or, you never know. But that one sticks out in my head because there was so many prolific people in that whole circumstance that it all matched. That was what was weird to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
They talk, Mahoney always says, like, the craziest shit happens in Deer Lodge, and he's never surprised by it anymore, from living here. And it's not like every fucking other year. It's like every year, almost every few months, something fucked up happens here. And you just got to think about, like, the spiritual world or something. You got the prison out there. You got a lot of evil people. A lot of evil people were in the old prison museum, before it turned in, before it shut down. And you got to think that a lot of that karma, that bad juju is floating around here. And for such a small fucking town, when you have equally as many people in the prison as you do in the town that have done just horrific, terrible things, counting all the prisoners that have died. Not that all prisoners are evil. Don't get me wrong here, Prison City Podcast, but you got to think that there's some shit floating in the air that makes people lose their minds a little bit. You really do.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, for someone like me and Mahomes, and even Kelly, if you've moved away, like I've lived in Pittsburgh for several years. I've been in remote Alaska, but kind of traveled all over the country. You've been away from George for a good period of time. You come back, and the town is it's really actually a beautiful town. It's beautiful mountains, beautiful. There's mountains fucking everywhere. Beautiful scenery. It's actually a very, very pretty town. I mean, it's a very nice town. It's just so weird for such a nice looking town. It's like so much fucked up shit has happened here.
Yep. I agree with that statement.
And it's hard to, like Kelly said, it does feel like every couple of months you got some new story about some lady getting kidnapped over like a bar of gold or, just like, it's never just like some small little thing. Either.
I shouldn't laugh at that. Sorry.
Me either. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I actually think he killed her and her son or something right there at that time. So I don't think that was.
That's what it was. Yep.
Jesus. Okay.
Hey, fun fact. Though, I don't want to be that guy, but listen, that guy killed the woman and her son because they had a big gold bar in their safe.
Is that the truth?
And he took the gold bar. And it is somewhere in the mountains of Deer Lodge, Montana, and he won't tell where it's at.
Fuck.
Wow.
Oh, that was a sad guy.
He took all their silver too, and that's how he got caught. He went to Missoula, sold it. Got caught. And then,
that
shit's registered. Yep. I mean, that's like a fucking book you read, Treasure Hunters of the World or something when you're in 4th grade, and you're like, this is bullshit. It's like, no, this shit happens.
It's crazy. I was actually. Yeah.
Does that imply? Wait. Does that imply that Kelly actually went to 4th grade? I thought he dropped out in like 2nd. Am I wrong?
Listen, you little cunt. Can we say that on here?
Good.
Yeah. Let's yeah.
You can say the word "listen." It's okay.
Now, I think you should know that not only did he go to school, he completed school, came back and taught school, and met his wife as a 4th grade teacher. Huge difference. That's probably where he got it.
Ew, that sounds horrible.
Oh, you're just jealous. You're into midgets. Same thing.
No, it takes 2 midgets to make 1 full wife. So no. So if they're strippers, well, we gotta disclaim it. But wow,
oh, shit. Well, this got off the tracks a little bit. Let's get back to reptilians.
Midgets. Or not midgets. You're right.
It always does.
Oh god.
Yeah. Always
Hey,
does get
now,
off track.
Don, I was asking earlier. There's different types of aliens, so maybe we can divulge into that.
Take your
You
time.
mentioned fourth grade.
Fourth
They can't
grade was
fucking
tough.
speak.
You never saw it, but it was tough, so it's okay.
I got a good 15 minutes before bed, so let's wrap this up.
You already drank your Metamucil? Damn. I thought we were going to have a podcast for a while.
Hey, let's circle back the wagons here, guys.
Circle them up.
All right.
So no, I was out of the alien aspect. I think the two, I don't know, 95% of what I hear of my picture is reptilian or gray. That's the two designations I get for the picture I have. Outside of that, I've heard some wild stories and theories, but those are the two main ones that I can come up with anyway.
But what's
Spirits
the other?
Spirits is a big one.
Yeah, what are those other
so
ones? Because I heard you and John Amy talking about it. What are those other ones?
Yep.
Sorry.
I think a fun fact to my picture is it's only 100 yards or 150 yards from an old homestead that's on private ground. And you really don't even know the cabin is there unless you're looking for it. And there's still a foundation. There's still a couple logs sitting there. And as the story goes, it was a horse fighter from Minnesota that came to Montana, settled there in the 1800s, and that person in the homestead was killed by the natives. That's kind of the other story I've heard. So it's his spirit, not so much a reptilian or a gray or an alien per se, but a spirit of a person that once lived there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. Did you believe in aliens before all this?
That is a good question. I'm very open-minded. So, because once you get closed-minded, that's the downfall of society. So I was very open-minded to it. But after this dropped, it kind of gave me a different perspective on what is truly out there. Did I actually catch a reptilian or a gray? Or did I just catch a random overexposed person trespassing in the middle of the night or in the beginning of the night out of a private ranch? That's kind of where I'm at with it. Is I don't speculate one way or another. I think that's kind of been my key to success with this picture. Is I'll show you the picture and you'll tell me it's a person, and I'll say okay,
Pull that up
or
again.
you'll tell me it's ET. Sure, I'll feed into whatever you think it is, because a picture's worth 1,000 words. This one's more than 1,000, I would say, for sure.
And what's some of the other theories you've heard on this picture? Like, what's the wildest couple of theories you've heard on this?
Oh boy, I have one that sticks in my mind particularly from a local from Deer Lodge. They heard about my picture. They confronted me and they wanted to see it in person. So I showed them this image that we're looking at now. And then I showed them the comparison photo like I did you boys. And they are very adamant that that is the same alien named Esteban, who met them when they were a child at the Clark Fork River while they were exploring in their youthful days.
God.
And Esteban can't leave planet Earth because they fornicated with a human being. So Esteban is stuck in between A or B.
Jesus Christ.
That was a weird one.
That is.
Yeah, I heard that.
How did the
That's-
fornication how did the fornication even happen if they're not like?
Listen, once I heard that, you think I'm going to start asking questions? No. I just smiled and waved. Cool story.
Dude, that's real cool, because how many people can say they like that actually fucked an alien before?
Esteban must be a player. I don't know. He hits aliens and humans. I mean, I don't even know how to
Here's
describe
old
it. Like,
Esteban, folks, right
he's the
here on the screen. Hey,
That's him.
any single ladies out there right now? Well, meet Esteban. He walks around the middle of the dark at random times.
He's naked, so that cuts out the middleman. Yep.
Hey, and what I want to say is about Esteban, it looks like he's got an erection coming out of his chest, so that must have been some interesting fornication.
I think with a fifth dimensional reptilian, they come with a stick, like a pretty big stick, and it beats women off as he's walking through the woods. That's what I hear anyway. It's all speculative, but
And
That's classic Esteban beating off in the woods.
and
I was there. I lived it. I'm not proud of it. But I lived it.
hey, and Esteban, if you're watching this episode, just drop a comment in the comments section. We'll hook you up with any girl you want in town.
We got these shirts. You can buy these shirts from our link. At least put something on. We sell women's smalls, so you'd be good. You'd be all right.
And honestly, like if you could help us grow this podcast, like not just in this dimension, like on other planets, other dimensions, that would be huge. You know, any viewership is good for us.
Like and subscribe in the
free
fifth dimension.
shipping.
Hey,
Yeah,
fifth,
free shipping.
Fifth dimension, we need your support right now, as we're not getting many viewers.
Yeah, we have 50 million followers on Cassiopeia right now. Doesn't do us much good.
We're the most watched podcast of another fifth dimension.
Hey, that's worth something, isn't it? I don't know. I just work here.
Esteban's like, I sodomized every one of those motherfuckers. They
Dude,
don't even know about it.
Dude, all this picture is Esteban going out there looking for some fucking pussy.
He's horny. I mean, he's got a very bulbously head. Like, I can't argue with it, you know?
The funny thing is, from a podcast we did a couple times ago, all he had to do was say, "What's the move?" and he wouldn't have to go searching at night.
God.
Hey,
don't jizz where you eat. It looks like Donald jizzed on the camera, and that's how they got that image.
hey, Pat is the one that held the camera last. Oh, you mean the stealth cam? Okay, yes, on both accounts, but that's not the point here.
Oh God.
Hopefully
Oh,
Esteban has twins. That's all I can say.
Oh, that's crazy, man. So you never want to go back there again? You said is this hard to get to?
Yep.
Is it hard to get there from Deer
So
Lodge?
just-
Like,
yes.
I mean, I wouldn't mind going out there.
If someone could get up there, how would they get up there?
Yeah, so without the private access that I had,
Okay.
for the public to actually get to that exact spot is, at least 3 miles and at least 1,000 feet in elevation drop. So then once you are at that point, you have 1,000 feet to go back and miles to hoof it just to get back to a public access road.
Oh, so
Wow.
you would have to fucking hike, basically, or have a 4-wheeler or something.
No, you can't even take a 4-wheeler. It's
Uh-huh.
no motorized vehicle. So you gotta hoof it for miles to get to
Okay.
that exact spot. Unless, like I said, you have access, but there's only 3 people that had access to be at that point. And I was so in it originally when I was like, hey, is this you? I sent text messages out to the 3 people, and all 3 of them said, that's not me. I don't know what the hell that is.
It's fucking weird.
That's how that went down. Yeah.
Even Esteban said that.
Yeah.
Hey, he spoke a little Spanish, but I drink Patron, so we got along pretty well.
That's pretty racially insensitive of you to think Esteban is
Are you
Hispanic alien.
You know what? You're not wrong. You know what? You're not wrong.
So you said when you went up there and looked at it a couple times after this picture came out, you just felt something in the air, like that was just like chills down your back or whatever. Like the sixth
Only
sense or
one
whatever?
time. Yep, only one more time was I actually in that position. Take that. Thanks. Only I went up there that night with the guy that filmed me for the Carbon TV deal. And as I stood there in front of where the camera was, I was like, boys, I'm never going to come back to this spot. And all those other two guys were like, yeah, we don't like this here. We need to get out of here. And we hoofed it out of there.
Carbon TV.
Yep.
I was going to say you hoofed it in and out of there then, huh? Wow.
Yep. Because you got to walk.
Crazy.
It's only a couple hundred yards to where the camera was, but I definitely won't go back. That's for sure.
Wow.
So there's not even a part of you that wants to set up like another camera out there, like one of your kind of one that's on its last legs.
Don't get me wrong. I've had enough inquiries about, let's go put 10 cameras up in this spot because of the location. We'll pay you to take us there. No, thank you. No,
really?
They weren't hot. They weren't hot enough. No, they weren't hot enough. But if they were, I might have. But no.
God, we used to break into the old Montana State Museum prison, old prison, and we'd do our own ghost tours at night. And God, we ran into some creepy shit. We just said, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. It's just like, fuck. It's fun for a while. And then you have some creepy shit happen to you. You're like, nope, I'm out.
I'm out. Oh, I'm on the same page. I'm out.
Yeah. Fucking weird.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, people would say that shit doesn't like exist, ghosts or aliens or whatever. We talked about this last time or 2 times ago. You look up in the stars and it's like, holy fuck, how big the universe is, and it's ever expanding, infinite. It's like things gotta be out there, It's like if we had the technology to just fly around and land on a fucking planet 1 trillion light years away, and we're like, like Esteban, you see a camera in the woods and you're like, I'm not welcome here, or they're gonna fucking kill me, dissect me, whatever. I mean, you really got to think that most things out there don't we can't comprehend, but they do exist. I mean, that's just how big the places that we live.
Yeah, like society with people that are quote unquote sheep. They don't want to know what's happening outside of planet Earth because it's too much for their mental capacity, right? So until that comes apparent, until it's like, I got this book I just looked at, and they have a picture of a galaxy 12 million light years away. And it has all the same dynamics as Earth. And in my opinion, especially after this picture, you're a fool to think that there is not anything outside of Earth itself. We're not just a one man. There is multiple whatever out there. We don't know, though. We're only told so much. And the government and everything involved worldwide make sure that they keep it under wraps.
Yeah.
So this picture, I mean, I've been nervous about seeing black Suburbans with no license plates pull up to my house because I'm a little marked now, because just even talking about this picture, I get a little worried because it's people aren't ready for the true reality of Earth itself and what entails with that, what other creatures have visited and so on.
And the other thing is, and this is something to kind of segue into a little bit here, is I kind of had issues, living in Duros for over a year. You bump into a lot of people with a small mindset, small town mindset. You bump into people like that from all over, but like, especially it's like kind of where like a lot of people don't see outside of Deer Lodge at all whatsoever. Like this is the entire universe to them. So I always, whenever I get to that mindset, I always remind myself that there's a guy named Elon Musk who is going to put fucking human beings on Mars within 5 years. Think about that shit and what they might encounter up there. Think about how crazy that is to think about. Fucking Mars.
Right.
Yeah.
I found it interesting a couple months ago. Elon Musk came out with a statement that if there was paranormal beings out there, you would think he would know about it. So he disclaims it as, I haven't seen it, so it's not a thing.
Have you ever?
Which is most of the mindset. Yeah.
And it sucks if people like have such a small mindset, whether it be in Durage or other places. It could be in New York City, have a really small mindset. But a lot of people don't realize about Elon Musk is he gets a shit ton of funding from like fucking NASA and stuff. Like he gets a ton of funding from
Right.
them. Yeah. It's not, he has his fundings from all over, but he gets a ton of funding from the actual government itself. So there's definitely secrets that he has to hold keep and everything else. And he's putting some huge,
For sure.
donkey-sized balls bets on these fucking things he's trying to do. But we're gonna within 5 years, we're gonna have people on Mars. That just sounds fucking crazy.
Right.
You're only
Even more
limited.
to the fact. Go ahead.
Sorry, Don. I was just gonna say you're only limited by yourself. That's it. You know, you can dream as big as you fucking want, and it probably exists. But people are, comfortable. We talk about this all the time on this podcast, how you're comfortable nowadays, especially in the United States. But man, you expand your fucking mind. It's endless, and anything you can think of exists somewhere. It exists on Earth or somewhere else. Trust me.
Right. You're exactly right.
And it's not even that crazy to think about humans on the moon when you think about Matt Damon got stuck up there for over a year and had to survive on his own shit making potatoes. So,
hey, and that's Matt Damon. Shit, what's that say for the rest of us? Yep.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, but did
I go watch that tonight, Mahoney? Thanks for bringing that up.
Cool. I love that movie.
Hey,
Good one. It's on TV. I watch it.
Let's go back to Mahone's favorite topic. The moon landing never happened.
Oh, really?
That's not my favorite topic because I think it's a bunch of fucking gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook.
You should check out if you
like it's just funny to be like, oh man, they had to use CGI. Look at the fucking CGI from the 90s. And you're going to tell me in 1969 that's what they get the fuck out of here. Anyway,
you should see Don, if you haven't checked this documentary out, well, I call it a documentary. Some people might call it a conspiracy theory that aren't true believers, but there's this.
I'm excited to hear what it's called.
This one is called Kubrick's Odyssey, and it goes through Kubrick's relationship with NASA and stuff. And it never says we never landed on the moon. It never says we never landed on the moon. That's not the point of the documentary. It simply says basically that our first landing might have been faked just so we could beat Russia, but subsequent landings of that obviously happened or whatever. But it documents the first moon landing. It goes into Stephen King movies and shit. It's just so it's rad. It's a really fucking rad movie made by like a YouTuber guy pretty much. It's called Kubrick's Odyssey, and it's really good. I mean, that guy must have had a lot of fucking time on his hands.
Yeah, it relates the moon landing to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, right? And yeah, I know, but if you want some interest, conspiratorial or not, yeah, really fucking interesting.
Yeah, it's a really good whatever you want to call it. I couldn't. There's conspiracy theories where it's like, I can't believe this guy made that many fucking connections in one movie to the moon landing with just a fucking Kubrick film. It's like, holy shit, how did he do that? It's pretty cool that it's just a fun topic to talk about. I don't know. But I mean, obviously, if we're going to Mars, obviously we've been in the moon already. Just to clarify that for our audience.
Yeah, I was confused. So thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
And there's a couple
Thank
other
you.
really good YouTube things out there too, where you can see that like Tupac Shakur's alive, living in Cancun, and some really, really good stuff about how Steve Jobs is still alive and living in Egypt, because there's a picture of a guy that looks like him. So just
I
really
would live in Egypt too.
Makes you think,
You know the one that always got me. This is the one that always gets me. Humans and astronauts have never landed on the sun, right? Well, why don't they land on the sun at night when it's not so bright, right? I don't understand why that's not a thing.
That's not checkers, man. That's thinking.
That's it. Hey, I'm entrepreneurial, remember?
Is this Elon Musk we got on tonight, or Donald Bromley?
Why, do you got a doobie I can smoke? Because
Hey, by the end of the show, he's going to be Donald Trump.
Hey, make America great again. Watch me. Watch me.
His whole campaign is just that photo.
Just the
What
alien.
more do you need to see?
Do you believe? America 2024. Yep.
Well, Pat, we should probably round the chickens before they hatch.
I think so. Before we go, Don, I just got to ask you, what do you think of Enigma, the movie that was famous movie filmed?
Well, I lost a bet one time and I had to watch it. And it's like Napoleon Dynamite for me. Like I can't get that time of my life back. And I'm upset by it. So
Well,
that sums it up.
you're welcome.
I know. Well, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
You know, Don, you talked about some producers. Well, there's some producers, big time producers, back in 2003, making a great film, but the Montana State Prison would not allow them to film on their property. So that's why that alien exists. That's why Esteban is still stuck here.
Esteban's still a thing. He's still my boy. You want him in here next time? I'll bring him in.
And before we
I heard that Don. I just heard Don. I was watching Enigma. He went to make a bowl of popcorn. He came back and the fucker was over.
And I was still crying. That's the difference. I cried either way. So
let's do one.
Mostly happiness.
Let's do one more shot of Esteban here for our audience. There he is, right there.
God.
Hey, you need the fucking comparison photo.
You sent me on Facebook Messenger. Oh fuck.
Listen, bud, I already did. Shit.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
We'll get that. We'll get in that in post production. And the people still listening, which there's no one. Magic. This is movie magic right here. You get to see behind the scenes.
Hey, look at this. He's just a single, lonely, fifth dimensional amphibia or whatever, just looking for someone to hook up with.
No, it doesn't matter about water for him. But yeah, I hear where you're at. Yep.
I feel he's lonely. Look at him lonely out there, just looking for anybody.
Yeah. I think all of us at one point have been that lonely reptilian in a different dimension.
We can all relate. Yep. I feel for you, Esteban. You my boy. Hang in there. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just wrap things up here. We'll go over to our final statements of the night. As always, we'll end on Don. So I'll start with Kelly.
Well, Don, thanks very much for coming on. I think that we should have a follow-up episode with you because this has been very interesting, man. And yeah, that picture just fucking gets me every time Pat puts it up on the screen. You look, and the more you look, the weirder it fucking gets. I don't know, nothing's really. People have stories and stuff, but nothing in the mainstream has been, proven, or they don't talk about aliens. They don't talk about ghosts and shit very much until lately, But yeah, that you got something there that's very fucking strange. And yeah, if people can expand their minds, because we only use 5% of our minds or whatever, 8% at best, you would realize that there is a lot of fucking girth. There's a lot of fucking weight to this universe, and there's most shit we don't understand and we don't know about. So that really is a fascinating thing. So I appreciate you sharing that tonight.
Yep. And then we'll go to
Absolutely.
Mahones, your final statement.
First of all, I have to apologize for anyone that didn't see on camera when Kelly said girth. I just started laughing like a little schoolgirl because I don't know. It's always
I feel
funny.
privileged.
Yeah, that word is always funny to me, like a fucking teenage child. But anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Episode 14, lucky number 14. We are the number one podcast in the Snickers galaxy, thanks to our good friend Esteban. But no, Don, thanks for coming on. It really is interesting, and it's like Kelly said, that picture's fucking crazy, and it's really more interesting to hear the story. So hopefully, people who had seen it are listening to the story now, or will listen to it later and kind of free their mind a little bit. Because again, you got to be. It's just the arrogance of human to think we're alone in this vast universe.
Boom.
And I'm gonna do my final statement. Then we'll go to Don. I just think it's kind of what Mahoney was saying there and shit. Like So there's this Twilight Zone episode that me and Kelly watched not too long ago. It's called Mr. Frisbee. He talked all this shit or whatever. So the aliens come down and capture him because he talks so much shit that they think he's the best human being on planet Earth. I can imagine another dimension. They're watching our podcast every single week, like, wow, these guys know fucking everything. So there's a fifth dimension where we're like on top of the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, to wrap things up here, get your Boycott Patrick Cutler t-shirts in the link below. I think we're gonna get another one too. Mahomes is sporting them. The first ever Boycott Patrick Cutler t-shirts right there, sporting it there. Mahomes, get one. I got the Warden, Dear Lodge Warden colors for you, the Warden fans out there, the blue and yellow, and we also got the black and gold because I'm a Steelers fan. I love the black and gold. Get those today. The next t-shirt we're coming out with is going to be free Esteban, a free Esteban t-shirt. And with the free Esteban t-shirt, I'll turn that away to Don to close out the show tonight.
Okay, well, I think you guys had very valid points. I appreciate you having me on here, singing my song, because this picture has encompassed my life. So to talk about it more, sure. You want episode whatever, 15, 16? Yep, sign me up, because it's kind of my wheelhouse. To hit on the one point, though, that I think is pretty prolific for me is opening up people's minds to what else is out there. Everybody's so closed-minded in society, and they just do what they're told, not to think for themselves. This is a great example of that, because not that I was in that boat, but I was skeptical for sure. And now, after every meeting I've had with anybody, I realize there's a lot more at work here than what comes to the surface, and all because of one picture.